Welcome to the course on diplomacy. Our second topic is dedicated to the principles, tools, and functions of diplomacy. 3 Principles of Diplomacy by Colin Powell. The first principle is that power is a necessary condition for foreign policy success, not always a sufficient one. Power is necessary because it's not possible to reason with every adversary that threatens a vital interest. Deciding the balance between patience and power is a difficult judgment every president must make. The second principle of diplomacy follows from the first. Policy success comes easier when more actors work with you than against you. According to Powell, one of diplomacy's main jobs is to arrange coalitions so that one's power and one's reputation are multiplied. The fact of power alone cannot do this because power repels as well as attracts. A wise diplomacy magnifies power's attractive quality by using power to benefit others as well as oneself. The third diplomatic principle is that the most advantageous outcome may be an incomplete success. Some adversaries will never take that avenue of escape, said Powell, Saddam Hussein being a perfect example. Colin Powell, 65th United States Secretary of State. Tools of diplomacy. Rahul Srivastava, ambassador of India to Venezuela, divided the tools of diplomacy into the following categories. Political. This is the most important tool. The core of the political tool is interaction of the embassy with the host government to maintain bilateral relations between the two countries and interaction between political leadership of the two countries. This is the analogous to maintenance of good ties between, say, the bridegroom's family and the bride's family. Amount of material transaction is not the key component for these two. One good way of using this tool is to have heads of state government level visits. Meetings, negotiations, telephonic calls, and written communications are other ways to use this tool. Second, security. He would put cooperation in areas such as intelligence, defense, counterterrorism, nuclear issues, space, and high-tech under this category. If two countries use the security tool of diplomacy in their relationship, it shows that they have a high level of confidence in each other. Commercial. This includes trade, investment, and economic relations between countries. One large Asian country has been able to use this tool of diplomacy effectively in the developing countries to enhance its footprint in these countries. Cultural. I would put art, including performing arts, literature, education, and public diplomacy under this category. Consular, starting from visas right up to extradition. Tools of diplomacy. Diplomacy, meeting with foreign leaders to react diplomatic solutions to problems. Economic aid, sending money to help. Humanitarian aid, sending food or medical help. Military aid, sending military troops to train or giving military equipment. Treaties, agreeing with foreign countries to solve a problem. Sanctions, putting restrictions on a country. Military intervention, sending troops to solve a problem. Functions of diplomacy include representation, negotiation, obtaining information, promoting and protecting the interests of nations, diplomatic cooperation, international cooperation, policy making by diplomats. The functions of diplomacy. There are 4 prominent functions of diplomacy representing states' interests. Diplomats as spokesperson, channel of communication. Symbolic representation. Ambassador represents the head of state in the host state. Ambassador is also the personification of his/her country. Obtaining, reporting information about the host state, role of attaché. Policy making. Ambassadors became policymakers usually in multilateral conferences where decisions are to be reached at the end of the conference. Consular services, promoting and protecting the interests of nationals. The role of consuls, promotion of trade, help travel nationals, passports, visas, wedding, births, etc. Thanks for your attention.